Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Supply Chain. This is Thoughts and Coffee, and my name is Sarah Barnes-Humphrey. I'm the founder and host of Let's Talk Supply Chain, and I am super excited for our show today. We've got Johan here from Samsara, and I've been having lots of conversations with them to really bring you up to speed as to who they are and what they're doing in the market and how they can help you. So excited to continue that conversation today. Now, of course, we could not have this show without our show sponsor, which is the Secret Society of Supply Chain. That is our free membership group. So go and check that out, secretsocietyofsupplychain.com. I want to give a shout out to some of our newest members. Welcome to our community. It's Josh Toole, Trevor Taylor, Hugh Curtis, Josh Esborn, and Paula Brandy. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, if you join us this week, we will give you a shout out on the show. Not next week, but the week after, because I'm going to be at TPM next Tuesday. So you're going to have to stay tuned. We're going to play one of our past episodes. But now it's time to talk about what's happening at Let's Talk Supply Chain. So we've got a couple of brand new episodes for you. Now we've got episode 524. Now, this is with Kieran from Samsara, and we're talking about increase the safety, efficiency, and sustainability of your operations. Now, go and check out that episode. It is jam-packed with insights and advice and more about how you can increase the safety, efficiency, and sustainability of your operations. Wherever you listen or watch the show, of course, over on our YouTube, and it's episode 524. And now we've got episode 525 as well. Now, this is with Paula Natoli from Google Cloud, and she's talking about how to activate your supply chain's data. What does that mean for you? How can you do it? Lots of advice, lots of insights into this. And actually, you're going to see Paula and I together very, very soon in a number of different ways, because we've got a bit of announcement that's coming up at the end of this month, early next month. So stay tuned, because I can't wait to share that with you. And of course, we've got our live shows happening. Now, Eric Johnson is going to be with me at TPM next week. He's also going to be on TPM today, this Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Click the attend button, even if you can't attend live, and we will send you the recording. And it's called The Annual Freight Contract is Dying. Are you ready for what's next? And I'm pretty sure most of us might not be. So I'm definitely clicking that attend button to watch that show. And I hope that you're going to join me. Next, where are we going to be, in person or some virtually? Again, TPM is happening March 1st through March 4th. Now, I'm going to be hosting their pickleball tournament that's happening this Sunday. And then I'm also going to be hosting TPM live from the show floor to provide you with all of the insights that are happening at TPM this year. Then, of course, we've got an upcoming webinar with Supply Chain Brain and Oliver White. We're going to be talking about driving strategy execution to the next level. That one is April 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern. That one you need to go and register. So click the link in the comments and go and register for that one. We're also going to be at Modex. If your company is going to be at Modex and you have a booth, make sure that you reach out, because we're going to be recording some podcasts on site, and we would love to create some buzz just like we did at Manifest in your booth. So reach out. That's in Atlanta, April 13th through 16th. And then we're also going to be at Breakbulk and Project Cargo in New Orleans, April 20th through 22nd. And of course, we've got the National Supply Chain Day event. This is also happening in Atlanta, April 29th. And we'd love to see all of you beautiful people there. We're going to have just a night of celebration for everyone in supply chain. And then, of course, we're going to be at Home Delivery World, May 20th through 21st in Nashville. We are also recording podcasts on site here. So make sure to reach out to us there as well. Now, an exciting announcement. We're going to be launching Let's Talk Supply Chain Europe in September, and we are accepting applications for hosts. So if you or anybody that you know could be a great host for Let's Talk Supply Chain Europe, or wants to be, please make sure that you click the link in the comments and apply, because we would love to see you there and see what we can do together and how we can collaborate. Last but not least, we have a new blended episode. This is about diverse voices on industry stages. Highly recommend you go and check that out. It's a really important one because we want to get more inclusive on industry stages. And that's not just good for the speakers or the event. It's also good for the companies that are sending their people there because it creates creativity and innovation. And last but not least, we've got a new Woman in Supply Chain blog. So go and check that out. We're going to put all of the links in the comments so you can go and check all of that out. Now, remember, if you are watching and tuning in, I want to know where you're tuning in from. So make sure to put that in the comments. And we love a good fire emoji around here. So if you like our conversation today, make sure to put a fire emoji in those comments so that we can give you a shout out as well. Welcome to the show, Johan.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Great to be here with you.
I'm excited to have you here. Now, we've got a lot to talk about. We've actually got some fun things on the docket. That's going to come a little bit later on in the show because I found this article around like a Reddit for AI agents, and everybody in the audience is probably like, what? And I'm like, yes, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But before we do that, why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you do, and a little bit about your company?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in logistics and mobility for the good part of my life. It really started when I was young. When I was 18, I got a phone call from my dad. A sad situation. My brother had been a survivor in a fatal bus accident. It was a absolutely terrible experience. And since then, I've been working in safety and making transportation just safer. It's been my calling since then. And when you get one of those calls and was uncertain for a while, and you remember it and it defines you for the rest of your life. So that's what I do. So I lead safety at Samsara. We help companies and commercial drivers to become safer on the road. It's a really impactful thing. It more than halves accidents when you install our equipment into vehicles. So that's what I do.
Awesome. And if anybody wants to learn more about them, there is a QR code in the top right-hand corner that's going to take you there for more information. So make sure you grab that before the end of the show. I want to give a shout out to Sam from Delaware/Philadelphia area. I hope you're staying safe. I know you got a lot of snow in the last 2 days. And we've got a lot of people in the Let's Talk Supply Chain LinkedIn as well. Want to give you all a shout out. Okay, so now it's time for us to get to our poll of the week. We ask everybody a question every single Wednesday morning, and we asked this one last Wednesday. There's still some time to get involved, so if you didn't answer this question, head over there and put in your votes. The question was, does your tech give too much data and not enough action? That's such a good question. I mean, we had about 35 votes. 38% said data, no clear action. Are we tied at 26? Yeah, we're tied at 26. Sorry, I just got these new glasses. Trying to adjust to them. We're tied at 26% drowning in data or act after the fact, and 9% said AI ninja automate at scale. That 9%, I tell you, I mean, good for them because we're going through automation here at Let's Talk Supply Chain, and we're definitely not AI ninjas. I can tell you that much right now. Johan, what did you think about the results of this poll? Why did you guys ask this question? Like, just give me some background and your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. Like as we're digitalizing the world, like we're just drowning in data, right? Like that's the thing. The way we do it is that we apply AI to extract the synthesis out of this data. When it comes to safety and vehicles, we look at something like 45 plus signals to determine what if a situation is unsafe. If you take a customer, one of our customers, Primoris, they have more than 10,000 vehicles. Imagine that you got 10,000 vehicles and 45 signals that are coming in real time. It's very much to sift through. So the only way to do it is AI. So we take that and then we synthesize it so that the action sits right there. That's how we do it, and that's, I guess, one path of becoming like a little bit more of an AI ninja then.
Well, the 26% that says that they're drowning in data, I mean, that doesn't really surprise us, right? Because we talk about data, we talk about having data lakes and trying to sift through them and figure out the good data, the bad data. What do we need? What do we not need? And I
Yeah.
think there are, several organizations that are still sort of in that path of drowning in data. So that one didn't really surprise me. What I think surprised me was the 38% that said data with no clear action.
Mm.
I mean, what does that really mean for an organization?
Yeah, that's true. Like, I think we've lived for a long time in a world where we generate reports and tables of a lot of data, and you need to kind of analyze it. And I think we're moving away from that now. Like, we're going away from that time where we're driving the data, and instead extracting truly actionable insights out of it.
Well,
That's the way to go.
Well, and we kind of have to, right? I
Yeah,
don't think there's any ifs anymore. It's really that we have to move forward with that. So
yeah.
I appreciate that. Now, I want to give a shout out to Shelly, who is joining us from Odessa, Florida, on my personal LinkedIn. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, remember, we love good fire emojis. So if you like this, fire emojis in the comments. Now's the time where we usually do a bit of a market update. Like, you're talking to a lot of customers, you're talking to a lot of people in the industry. What are people saying? What are they thinking about? I mean, I'm going to address tariffs in just a minute because that's
Yeah.
kind of like the number one thing everybody's talking about this week. But in your world, what's sort of keeping everybody up at night?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential now with everything that is changing when it comes to, in particular, technology and AI. And I think people are reacting to that in different ways. There's a little bit of angst, there's a lot of lean in, and there are those that are seeing just tremendous impact from it. And so that's certainly one major discussion that I'm continuously having. And the types of trends that I'm seeing there is that people are moving from being very reactive to things to being proactive. And data is certainly a big part of that, and analyzing it and coming to conclusions, but also like using agents, AI agents to take actions. So you take the data, you analyze it, and then you automatically have agents taking actions on your behalf. And that can be calling to check in with a driver that might be a little bit drowsy, or it could be to triage different situations to truly come to what is the most important. So agents doing this type of work to augment humans and make us go even further. That's a big trend that I'm seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I want to address the sort of the big elephant in the room, and that's around what just came down this past week around the tariff ruling and what it means for supply chains. Now, we don't have enough time on this show to get into that, but we did share a newsletter just a couple of days ago. We're going to put that link in the comments to talk about what it means for you. I was talking to somebody yesterday that said that a lot of this is going to take at least about 8 weeks for us to get anywhere close to really understanding, when refunds could be available, et cetera, and how they're going to be passed down. One of the things that they did say yesterday was that you need to make sure all of your customs entries are very well done and there are no mistakes, because what's going to happen is they're going to look for anything that could be a potential mistake on your customs entries. So just make sure all of your entries have been done properly. Especially if you're going to be asking for a refund and things like that. But this is going to be a very, very slow process. And so we need to pack our patience as supply chain professionals. I think we're kind of used to that. But even better, we're going to be hearing even more about this at TPM next week, and we're going to have even more of a path forward and more information. I know they've got Janet Yellen there for their keynote. And of course, they have their own S&P economic outlook that they're going to be sharing as well. And this is definitely going to be a part of it. So I just wanted to let everybody know we've got you covered. Go and check that newsletter. Big topic this week. So go and check it out. But I think information is still coming out, right, Johan? Everybody is just sort of like, what does this mean? And how do we move forward?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, there's a lot changing.
All right. So let's get to our first article. Now, this is an article about the airline industry, and this affects everybody. And one of the reasons why I say that is because the demand for airlines and the demand for passenger traffic has actually gone up 9.3% since pre-pandemic levels. I mean, that's huge because people were flying a lot pre-pandemic, and now they're flying almost 10% more, which is crazy. But one of the things that this article talks about, and I think, Johan, you're going to be talking about the safety aspect of this
Mhm.
too, right? Because you really deal in safety and what that means. But they're using older planes. And one of the reasons for that is that the demand for air travel, because it has increased so much, the parts and the raw materials and getting those in the hands of the manufacturers to be able to create new airplanes and new inventory has actually gone up to 12 to 18 months. Even though they've ramped up production, they just can't get on top of the demand. And so what they're saying in this particular article, and I think there's going to be a sigh of relief everywhere,
Yes.
is that it's not a supply chain issue. It's a demand issue. And I think that that's probably the first time ever that we're not blaming supply chain professionals. But anyways, Johan, what did you think of this particular article? And talk to us about your thoughts.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's I mean, supply chain is so important, we have I have the benefit of working with both airlines and ground services, so I've seen some of this fairly closely. We work with a company called Swissport. They service around 62 airports, and they run the equipment on the tarmac. And I was out in San Francisco just a few weeks ago and working with them on that. And let me tell you, it is chaos on that tarmac. There's so many vehicles driving around in all kinds of directions. It's organized chaos, but they are making wonderful efforts to ensure that our planes leave on time. And one thing there is that they do bump into each other also on the tarmac. They bump into planes. They pull the planes in the wrong ways, and those lead sometimes to some of the delays. But that's what we're working with. So also there, we've installed cameras to ensure that they stay safe and they are aware of what's happening, etc. So yes, we're all doing heroic efforts to make sure things move on time in supply chain and elsewhere.
Well, and like you said, it's organized chaos. So
Mhm.
it's almost like if we put a soundtrack to it and we watched all the planes and the vehicles move along the tarmac, right? It would kind of be this symphony of
Mhm.
organized chaos. But what happens when we have bottlenecks, right? What
Yeah.
happens when we've got the peak of demand, but we can't actually get parts and raw materials? So when I was in logistics, part of what I did was aircraft on ground parts, which you can imagine if there's an aircraft that's stalled on the ground waiting for a part, like, we as passengers, we sit there and we hear that the plane's going to be delayed because of mechanical issues.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody
No.
wants to hear that, but it does happen. And so for the supply chain folks that are behind that, just so everybody gets a clear understanding of what that looks like, everybody is moving as fast as they can to get that part to the aircraft. And sometimes they ground the aircraft and they use a different one. Sometimes they have to actually wait for that part because they don't have, and right now that's kind of what's happening at the moment, because they just can't get the parts fast enough. And so they're using older planes, or they're having to ground some planes, et cetera, et cetera. But the supply chain behind aircraft on ground parts is absolutely fascinating. And the amount of people that are moving at the speed of light to try to get those airplanes off the ground is amazing.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that speaks to like how supply chain is really affecting society. When things go wrong, it affects ordinary people and it affects it quickly. So like what we do here is like absolutely crucial. And in the case of the ground services, like accident is one of those driving things that really disrupt things. And that's why like when we work with Swissport, like we're really proud to say like we've reduced like the accident by 60% for them. And
Wow.
that's what keeps the supply chain and airlines like to keep them running on time. So it's
Yeah.
it's really impactful.
Well, and it's such a key point because not everybody really understands all of the mechanics behind, not even just the airline industry, but us being able to get life-saving medication, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
there's so many things involved. And I'm glad that you brought up the safety aspect of it, because there is a huge component in safety. And if you think about all of the things that supply chain professionals and leaders have to think about when they think about their supply chains, safety is up there. Cybersecurity is up there, right? Optimization and technology is up there as well. And they get pulled in so many different directions to try to manage a lot of this just so we can either fly safely or get a package to our door on time. Now, I want to give a shout out over on my Let's Talk Supply Chain Instagram. D. Steinbach says, graduated with a BBA in analytics with an emphasis on supply chain. Agents are a double-edged sword. Love that. And thanks so much for joining us over there on our Instagram. So let's get to our second article. Now, we originally had a Harvard Business Review article. I did change it to the Georgia Tech one only because, but we're going to be talking about that Harvard Business Review article, and we'll put both of those in the comments so that you can go and check those out. But this talks about the age of autonomous supply chain. So Johan, talk to me about this article. What were some of the things that you picked up from it? And then I'll share some of mine.
Yeah, I mean, just autonomy and just having AI take actions is like a really, really impactful thing, and it's like at the backbone of what we do and how we do things. An example, we work with DHL, and they huge. They deliver and almost 2 billion parcels each year, and they have like 600,000 employees. And that's an example where we like work closely with them to also have autonomy, like take actions like autonomously through agents or whatnot. And that for them in that case, they've almost reduced accidents by 50%.
Wow.
So it can be enormously impactful when you bring in autonomy into this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this particular article said that they had paired AI agents versus students in the MIT beer distribution game. I don't know if you've played it. I have not played that game, but I've heard it several times, and I heard that it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, what happened at the end was that they found that the AI agents reduced supply chain costs by 67%. Are you
Yeah.
surprised by that?
Yeah, no, I'm not. We're seeing this. We're seeing this more and more with the AI effectively playing games. The MIT Bear game is one of them. We're also seeing them playing Snake, if you remember that from
Mhm.
earlier, and other types of games. And they've played even games like more sophisticated, like StarCraft or Go, or of course chess. So we see this continuously, and we are at the forefront of that. And what we do is that we help companies tap into this technology. So one example would be Mohawk Industries, and they travel more than 1 million miles every week. And together with them, we've saved almost $8 million by deploying these types of things. So it's about bringing the power of AI and working with people to really make an impact.
That's a lot of money on the table.
Yeah, it's idling and of course also safety, but it's like planned versus actual routes is a big portion of that, and that's the kind of game that we're talking about here. It's not
Mm.
exactly the same, but it's the same type of application of AI.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to address Jerome or Jerry asking about the Reuters article. It should be in the comments right now. If not, it is coming, I promise. So stay tuned in the comments for the link to that particular article. Now, some other things that really hit home for me on this article, and one of the things that I want to share. And by the way, we're getting a bunch of fire emojis, and I love that. Thank you so much for that, because it means that you're loving the conversation. And Sam's doing a great job over on my personal LinkedIn. She said she drowned in data last week and it collapsed her first code. So people are experimenting with things, especially in supply chain, to see where they can take it and what that means for them. But going back to this article, what they talked about, the success factors actually were selecting capable reasoning models, implementing guardrails, data through orchestration, and refining prompts. What do you think about those 4 key success factors when we're thinking about AI and AI agents?
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And that's quite deep as well. So reasoning is one of the things that these models are particularly good at. Like, so you take a lot of data, and when we say a lot of data, it can be tens of millions of words. So that's that many books, hundreds of books amount of data, and then it reasons across this data, like sees different things and extract what is truly the insights, and it does that in a very rich way. It becomes very impactful, and it spots patterns that you typically can't see. So it doesn't surprise me at all that this is the way they apply it, and then it's also similar to how we do it with LLM. Like it's the type of things that people use in their everyday life now, like ChatGPT, but we do it through APIs and in a very scaled fashion.
Yeah, and one of the other things, it said that professionals and leaders can then focus more on strategic priorities like network design
Hmm.
and supplier relationships. And
Yeah.
I go back to our last article about the demand going up and and the suppliers within that industry really trying to catch up with the demand. And that is also going to come down to supplier relationships. And so you really need your people to be able to have the time to foster those
Yeah.
relationships, because this is a human and people business. And we need the time back to be able to do that. And so
Yeah.
that's super, super important. All right, let's get to our last article. Now we've got a couple of minutes to talk about this. And Johan, I know that you thought this one
Yeah.
was really interesting. So
Absolutely.
this article talks about this thing called Moltbook. I've never
Mhm.
heard of it before. I just came across this, but it's Reddit for AI agents.
Yeah.
And they're talking about it being a robot revolution. Now, I talk about this a little bit in jest because the author of this particular article said it's more meme than matter. So, take it with a grain of salt, I think. But one of the things that was interesting is that they had a whole thread on shipping with
Yeah.
the AI agents, which I thought was fascinating. Johan, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, this is great fun, and I've spent quite some time on Moltbook, and I have my own Claude bot as well, which is the Molt bots that sort of do this, and I use it as an assistant to me and my wife, and we do planning together with our bot. But
Wow.
it's quite fascinating when the bots are let loose in this way, and they can talk with each other, have their own social network and whatnot. So it's interesting. I think it speaks to like these agents can be extremely powerful, but they also need to be controlled. Like you cannot just let them loose; they will do all kinds of things. So that's why you need to run them in an environment. You need to give them a purpose. You need to give them an objective. You need to quality control them and evaluate them against that, so that you truly get the best of them. But I love this because this is like really unleashing and showcasing the power.
So I chuckle a little bit when you use the word purpose
Okay.
because in my new book I talk about how a lot of the human experience is spent trying to find purpose for ourselves.
Yeah. Oh
And now
wow.
we're talking about finding purpose for AI agents. And I'm like, I don't even know if we're there that yet with ourselves, let alone being able to tell AI agents what their purpose is. But I totally get it. I chuckled because I thought that was super funny.
That's
Um,
funny.
one of the things that they talked about was that the AI agents are very apt to building community, but
Mm.
then they're very quick to turn on each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, where did they learn this behavior?
Yeah, we created them. It's sad. Yeah.
But it's interesting. I don't know if anybody out there watches 911 Nashville. I think the episode was about a month ago. And they had implemented an AI bot into their operations system for 911, and it turned on them.
Hmm.
And it took a human being talking to them and talking them down from the ledge of pulling the plug on everything to be able to get, restore order back into
Yeah.
operations. And
Yeah.
I thought that that was a really interesting way for us as humans to really understand what all of this means and what's sort of coming,
Yeah.
what's here and what's coming, and how we need to adapt some of the ways that we move through the world on a daily basis to really incorporate, AI and what it means for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the way we do it is that we try to have a human in the loop. So we're trying to have the agents sift through data, come up with ideas and synthesis, but then we present that for human for review to ensure that we take the right actions, etc. It's like and using humans in humans together with agents in the right combination is probably the right way to go, and that's how we are doing it to ensure this, ensure also like safety when it comes to agents.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, supply chain is a people business too. I don't think
Hmm.
that's ever
Yeah.
really going to go away. We really just want to optimize what everybody's doing
Yeah.
and sort of give them a better way of life, I think.
Yeah.
That's what we're aiming for, anyways. I want to remind everybody the QR code in the top right hand corner is more information about Samsara. So please click that. Go ahead and take a look at that information. Now, Johan, where can everybody connect with you? I know it's over on LinkedIn. You've got a fun title. Title over
Yeah.
on LinkedIn.
Yeah, sure. You're referring to like the getting cool shit done kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of that's my mantra. I think it's really important. Like it's urgent. It's urgent for me to help our customers, and it's urgent to improve safety. So that's why I want to get stuff done. It's really important.
Love that. Love that. So go connect with Johan over on LinkedIn. To everybody who joined us today, all the comments, all the fire emojis, thank you so much for joining us. Next week, we are going to have a replay of one of our most popular episodes of Thoughts and Coffee. So tune in at 10 a.m. Eastern next Tuesday. And then I'll be back live in the studio with Nauta on March 10th. Thank you so much to the team at Samsara for making this happen. And Johan, thanks so much for joining.